This is Spotlight Omaha. Spotlight Omaha is a local podcast that highlights local businesses and influential movers and shakers in the Omaha business community. Spotlight Omaha is brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Now, from the Pyramid Contractor Studios, the host of Spotlight Omaha, Jimmy Allen.
Good morning and welcome into the Spotlight Omaha podcast, where we take you around the city of Omaha, introduce you to local business owners, influential figures, and people who are making an impact on our community. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. If your company's not showing up at the top of search engine optimization, maybe you don't have a website, pixelfiremarketing.com is here to help. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details. Today, joining me inside the Pyramid Contractor Studios, Souba with Lease, Genie. I often say that I usually do this to hang out with my friends and talk to people I like. I don't get to do either of those things today, but Brandon's here anyway.
Oh, I saw that coming. Saw that coming a mile away. No, and I'm not excited to be here either.
Hey, man, we've been trying to do this for a while. I'm glad we were able to kind of knock this out.
We have. Yep, especially since I've made the change since last time I was on. So excited to be on the show today.
What is Lease, Genie, and how are you guys helping people in the Omaha area?
Well, thank you for asking. So Lease Genie is an organization. It's kind of unique to Omaha, being that we're the only company that focuses directly on what we do here locally. We can, of course, do leases across the United States, but our competition really, we don't have anything much closer than Kansas City.
Sure.
So that's what makes us really cool here. But we specialize in leasing equipment, which a loan versus lease is a great conversation I have with a lot of my clients. But basically, at the end of the day, we can set your terms, make nice, easy adjustment payments for you so that
really
you can
quickly,
own that. Yes.
What is the difference between a loan versus a lease, so people can kind of understand?
Great question. So a loan, most of us have had loans, and very cut and dry. This is your amortization schedule. This is how much you're going to pay monthly. This is how much interest you have on it. Boom, boom. You pay 3, 5, 6 years, whatever it is, and you're done.
Okay.
With a lease, we have flexibility that we can kind of mess with those terms a little bit if needed. But then it's an open-ended lease, meaning you keep the equipment when it is all said and done. And there are tax breaks for the cash value of the equipment that you can use if you're a business owner or if you sell equipment. So that's really the difference, is tax breaks and flexibility of payments versus, again, a loan is a loan. A lease, we have a little more flexibility.
Two-part question for you. Yep. What type of equipment are you guys commonly being asked to take out leases on? And is there any type of equipment people would be surprised that they could get a lease on that they may be surprised to find out about?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. Don't let me forget the second one as I dig into the first one. So we don't focus. When it comes to equipment, we have what everybody knows, and that's going to be your commercial construction equipment.
Sure.
They say if it has yellow paint on it, that is a favorite of ours. So when you think of skid loaders, bobcats, all the way up to dredging cranes, like the big arm cranes, all those we can do leases on. Then we get into, let's say, restaurants. So when you're talking about the ovens, the dishwashers, all the things that you would need in a kitchen setting, that is considered equipment. So we can do leases on those. All the way to golf simulators, very popular right now.
Yeah.
But the
shout out to Mercedes and the folks at Back Nine.
Hey, what up? But the projector, the computer, all of the actual equipment that is used for the golf simulator, that is all considered equipment, including installation. So that we can wrap into a lease for that on the equipment.
Is there anything that you've been surprised by that you're able to give a lease out on that you wouldn't have maybe have thought walking into Lease, Genie, was a possibility?
So right out of the chute, HVAC I knew was off the table, because that was just kind of the regulation, but that has changed over the years.
And when you say HVAC, you mean like the actual furnace or AC?
Correct.
Right?
The piece that you're buying that is being installed by a professional that now is pushing.
Is that because it's technically a service?
So what I understood at the beginning was, it is not something that is easy to remove. So if you install a giant one on top of a commercial building, you can't just go pick that up if it's not paid for, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it was more the product versus why they wouldn't lease on it. But now they're starting to open that up a little bit more. I think we're also finding more efficiencies and consistencies in equipment like that too, right? So I think they're starting to open up more doors of things that we can do leases on. So that was kind of one I didn't see coming. And then, of course, when I would sit down and try to prospect, all I could think of were HVAC people.
Yeah, of
but
course.
now that's changed. Now that's changed.
So now Lease Genie can help you out.
That is correct.
Right on the website, you tell people we help people out that get told no by other lenders. What are some of the reasons that people are being told no that you can help them with?
So that's a little bit on the other side of the business, which is business capital, lines of credit, and commercial real estate investing. And coming from the bank background, and this is a big piece why I kind of made the switch, I was sending deals over to Lease Genie that as a traditional bank just didn't really want to take on right now.
Yeah.
And I get that, right? We had, we talked about interest rates and all that and how crazy that is. So the banks have to be somewhat selective. So on that side of Lease Genie, we work with those business professionals that are getting told no, or you don't have the time in business, or your credit's just a little too low. Now, we still have those regulations too.
Sure.
But
maybe a little more lax.
We have more flexibility with it. Yep. We have a lot of different banks that we can work with. That the biggest piece is we've built a relationship with, saying we've done deals before. We have history with you guys specifically.
It's a little more old school.
You got it.
Sure.
You got it. And it is that, tell us the story. Okay, we've done something like this before for you. That worked out fine. So we'll take this on. So that's why we say we're the bank alternative. And when you're getting a no from the bank, give us a shot. And we'll even go further back for my mortgage days, which I say further back, that was roughly 5 years ago now. But
it was during the pandemic. That feels like 100 years ago.
It was. Yeah. But that was one I would have. So I was at a bigger bank, and I would have people call in and say, hey, I'm looking for a mortgage that I can also get some additional money for repair. This is a house that needs work. I want to flip it. And straight out of the chute, no. Like, it could not get that through underwriting. Okay. It's just not something a big bank's going to take on, because we have 700 mortgages that are perfect, right? Versus, the risky one. So that's another opportunity that we have where we can do the hard cash lending. And I was working with one of the flippers, and what they said is, I prefer a high interest 12 months loan,
because they're paying it off,
because I have to get it done. Yeah. Then they know that if I sit on this too long, I'm going to pay more on the interest and all that. So it's a great opportunity to help those flippers, which, again, from my old background, I could not.
Walk us through the process. If somebody goes to leasegenie.com and fills out an application, what does that look like?
So it comes on into the office. We are a strong team of 3. You've got Courtney, David, and myself. Once that comes in, we do the review. We pull a soft credit pull. So for all of you out there that care about your credit or have had credit challenges, we work very well with that, because the soft credit pull doesn't necessarily ding it like a traditional inquiry does. So once that credit pull is done, that gives us kind of an idea of, yep, we can work with this, or this is really out of the chute, and we do recommend credit counseling if it's out of the chute. And then once under that review, we find
and really quickly, when you say out of the chute, that means no, it's a no, right?
Yeah. Okay. There's a certain credit number. And it's hard because
it probably fluctuates.
They do. Yeah, they do. But I'll just tell you right now, if you're in the 400s, you have to do some credit work before you start digging into getting loans again.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but just knowing you in the little time that we've known each other, you're keen to help people. If somebody comes in, their credit's not there, do you feel, and this isn't on Lease Genie, this is a Brandon Souba thing, do you feel obligated to help that person?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because credit repair, if you ever watch late night shows, they have the commercials on, right? Yeah. Call 800-77 whatever, and your credit will go up 5 points today. Okay, that doesn't do you good in the long run.
It's also not real.
They're not. What you need is guidance and almost counseling, because getting 4 extra points on your credit doesn't change your spending ways. It doesn't change if you're going to be on time with your payments. And that's what's going to make the difference.
And also, by the way, a hard pull only usually causes you about 4 points anyway. So those weirdos out there, don't be that person.
That are freaking out.
Sorry,
yes. And if it's in real estate, it's not as impactful as other ones. So it all does depend. There's many factors. But that's another reason you need somebody to help and guide you, because you can Google credit and what's going to help and everything. But again, if you're not changing your activities, it's not going to affect your credit in the long run. Right. And it's not going to grow.
We're catching up with Brandon Souba of Lease Genie here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. When we talk about some of these people, either need or probably expecting a rather quickly turnaround on when they can expect the cash or the advance or the lease. How quick does that turnaround usually come?
Lease is pretty dang quick.
Yeah.
We've got the collateral, we've got the documents that we need, and that's a little more.
Hey, the equipment's right there, so we see the value, right?
Yeah, because of the collateral piece. When it comes to those SBA loans, those commercial lending, that is a longer story.
Okay.
And it is at the pace of the borrower.
Sure.
And I learned this in mortgage too. If I need a pay stub to show the underwriter and I don't get the pay stub for 2 weeks, we're sitting on it for 2 weeks.
Is that your experience? And obviously every situation is different, but let's say the bigger slice of the pie, if we're breaking it down, is you're usually waiting on somebody to provide you with documentation versus the other way around.
That is correct.
Okay.
100%. Yep. Because we don't want to sit on these.
Well, in do you think it is the person asking for the loan is going, do I really want to make this payment every month? Do you think that's got a little bit to do with it?
No. I mean, sometimes, but
Sure.
What I have seen, and again, I'm not just coming in with the Lease Genie.
Give us
piece.
names
This
right
is,
now.
Yeah, no, this is banking background 101.
Yeah.
If I asked you for your 1999 taxes right now, would you be able to pull them up on your phone?
No, because I wasn't getting taxes in 1999 because I was 11. So 2006, no, I could not.
Let's shut that.
Yeah.
Maybe a bad example for us in this room because I too was very young.
I thought that was a very weird number for you to go with, but I was allowing it.
I was trying to pick one that generally people don't have
electronic,
right? And we don't go back to 1999. I'll safely tell you.
That was my next question.
Yeah, no, we won't go that far.
Yeah.
But what happens is something that seems so simple to get. You sign in because most is on a portal now. So we'll use 2023 taxes.
Sure.
But you sign in, the portal doesn't work, and then you get a phone call, and then you get derailed, and the next thing you know,
technology
it's a week
is
later.
faulty sometimes.
No.
What a weird concept. That never happens in this room.
Users, but then people they kind of forget about it, and then it's the reminder, and now life has gone on, or I have experienced this too. Sometimes they're trying to hide something, and that was more in the mortgage days. Because they made a purchase they should not have, affected their cash to close, and they're trying to say, "Oh well, I'll have that money back there in a week." It's like, well, then we're not closing for another week.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's more I don't really want to make this commitment. It's
I don't want you to throw anybody under the bus.
Okay.
Give me the percentage where that money actually showed up in a week too. Less than 10%?
Oh shoot, I'm trying to think because I got to go back to my mortgage days for that one. If it would move. No, it was
pretty okay.
It was because again they knew they needed to give it to me, but don't expect to close on Tuesday and spend the money on Monday and be like, well, we'll just let the underwriter know it's coming. It's like, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
we need the
they don't believe you. In case you're
what I love is if you have a statement and it's 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4. Sometimes 4 of 4 is absolutely blank,
right?
And so people won't send it, and they're like, "Hey, it was just blank, so I didn't send it." I'm like, "I literally need it."
Yeah,
since it is 3 of 4.
Let's go ahead and kill. Let's go ahead and kill that tree. We'll
pretty much. Pretty much.
We'll bury another one. When we back to Lease Genie just for a second here. When we talk about a revolving line of credit, you guys offer that for equipment as well.
So you could,
because
the line of credit you can use for whatever you would like. We would recommend.
Let me backtrack. Okay. Explain what a revolving line of credit is.
Yep.
Sorry.
So a line of credit is a amount based upon financials, sometimes collateral, depending on what it is. But a lot of the times, if you have good credit, you've been in business for quite a while, you can get $20,000, $30,000 just with a signature. Because they're saying, yep, your business has been active. It's been profitable for 5 years. We trust that if we give you this money to loan off,
it'll come back.
It'll be fine. So it is truly that you have 20 grand sitting. You can pull from it however you would like. You can spend that on whatever you would like, and then you pay that back. Usually it's pretty much just interest only type payment for the first 10 years. And then within the last 10 years, you got paid off. You got to pay the whole thing off. Sure. Now, when it comes to, and that's more home equity line, actually, are the rules. But when it comes to business lines of credit, those renew every year. So if we do a line of credit, it's generally for a 12-month term. It gets renewed. You don't have to do much. Just show that, hey, still own this business, still profitable. Great. We'll renew this line of credit for you. So it's a good move because the banks get to check in with the businesses yearly saying,
Oh,
we're not going to give you this
great call.
money
Yeah.
if you're still not in business.
Right.
So it's more or less just to make sure that both parties are doing what they need to be doing.
Because sometimes that's a break glass in the case of emergency moment.
Correct.
And people, unfortunately, glass stays broken, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Or if they shut down and we're loaning against that building you had or whatever it is, then you don't have that anymore.
This podcast is obviously a little bit about you as well, along with Lease Genie. So let's talk about you for a second, because you make the jump from banking into Lease Genie. What are the biggest differences for somebody that maybe is in the industry and thinking about making a move?
Well, regulations.
Sure.
and again, we are regulated.
Yeah.
To an extent. The banks we work with hold the heavier piece of that, but we still have the security that we need to follow.
Well, I don't want to speak for either, but I'm sure doing business at different banks, there's different regulations too, right?
Yep.
So
and you'll be asked for different things. What I love, and Courtney talks about this a lot too, because she came on 3 years ago, is we are generally the last option for some of our clients. They've been told no, they have this dream, and business owner, you are a business owner. In your mind, I've been doing this for 7 years. I know I can make this successful. I just need that extra little to get over this hump, and then we're good to go. We tend to be that person, and it is really cool to get a deal done that everybody else said no to.
Yeah.
And so for me,
and I'm sure the response from the client is overwhelming,
tears.
right? Yeah.
We have people that cry often because
be saving somebody's dream.
You are.
Yeah.
And they've been living off a nose, and mind you,
I'm sure that makes it really hard for you to sleep at night when having that response to helping people.
I sleep fine most of the time. There's other issues like ADHD, but what I'm going to say is, they have to give us a lot more than what the bank may have been asking. Because prime example, very simple business, been in business for a while, just wanted a minimal SBA loan, and the banks really aren't touching SBA, especially lower amounts right now.
Because the fluctuation in the market,
not so much the fluctuation, because I've explained that. You have to make two underwriters happy at the bank. You have to make your underwriting team at the bank happy, credit,
and then the person they pass
and then
to.
the SBA underwriter. Where with us, we're just really working directly with an SBA bank, saying, "Hey, here's the story." But so the traditional bank said, "Nope, we're not gonna do this now." We're coming over, referring it over to Lease Genie. It was very much okay. We're gonna need this. We're gonna need this. We're gonna need these statements, and so on and so on. Where I just collected a couple tax documents the first time, right at the bank. So simple, just a couple docs. We're going to say no. Lease Genie, we're going to collect a lot more, but that's so we can build the most solid story to the underwriter that we're working with. So they see, okay, yep, you had one bad year, but out of 5 years, 1 out of 5 ain't too bad. We're more comfortable doing the loan now.
I'm sure every story's got a little bit of a different nuances, but do you see a constant, I don't want to call it a mistake, but maybe a cause for the reason a business owner is going through that time period? Is it just, obviously, I don't know if you know this, there's been some tariff issues recently that have caused some fluctuations, market dips. I don't know if you know about this. There was this thing called a pandemic about 5 years ago. But there's just obviously constant changes. So, and it's maybe as simple as those things cause this, but are there things that you see business owners do, and just advice to our audience to maybe don't do this or try to avoid that you're seeing people in the situation to need the loan?
Yep. So the big ones I see, number one, we talked about credit earlier. Your credit matters, business credit and personal credit.
Sure.
And the most common things that kills credit is late payments.
Yeah.
And, I get, we all have hard times. If you talk to any financial planner, you should have somewhat of a reserve. Pay the $50 to Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Right.
As much as it hurts, right? Don't go to the bar, or maybe don't eat out, or whatever it takes. Pay that $50, because that late payment, 90, 60 days, that's going to show up on every credit report that comes out. And it's going to follow you for quite a while too. So the credit's a big one, making payments on time. If you take a commitment to a loan, you got to pay it.
Yep.
Because the second you don't, the next person you ask for money, they're going to say, no, you didn't pay this person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the big one. And then time in business, and be it you get your LLC 2 years before you're really going to hit the market with your business plan or whatever it is, that shows that at least you had some time in business.
Now, you have to renew that business every 2 years, by the way.
Yes. So that's another one.
Might have learned that the hard way. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
But that's where the more you can have going towards your business, being your LLC, filing taxes, all those things towards it, that is time in business.
Yeah.
2 years is the magic number. Once you're over the 2-year hump in a business, a lot of this stuff gets easier.
Forming an LLC costs you $0, by the way. Also,
I think there is some charge, unless
to file it with the state.
Okay, yeah. That's what it is. Yes, and you gotta have an LLC for a business. Like, don't
at a minimum,
don't do everything on personal, because nobody thinks they're gonna get sued. But you never know. People are.
You made a statement a minute ago about personal credit and business credit. Can a business have a credit score?
They can.
Oh, I did not know that.
They can. A lot of smaller businesses, earlier businesses, you're going off of your personal credit.
Yeah.
Right. You're showing that, yes, I have history, but getting a business credit card, putting a little on it, paying it off, you are building credit for your business generally through the LLC. Then.
Will it show up on like a FICO score then? Or I did not realize that. Okay.
Yep. You can build business credit. Like I said, most smaller businesses, medium, they really don't have it because it's not something they focus on.
Right.
But again, just getting a business credit card under your name, putting small purchases on it and paying it right off, that's generating that business credit.
We're catching up with Brandon Souba of Lease Genie here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. You make this move a couple of months ago, but you still do a ton of networking. You're out in the community. You host a world famous podcast that's coming to a YouTube channel near you soon. Where does your passion for talking to people come from?
That's you know what? I don't think I've ever directly had to answer that question.
It's because you don't stop talking, but that's
probably it, right? and I've worked on that over the years. I don't know. I would have to say this is probably the weirdest answer you're gonna get to something like this. In middle school, you know how they do the honor roll and perfect attendance and everything?
Yeah.
I think it was 7th grade. I had perfect attendance.
Okay. Became a big deal for you?
No, I was not a great student. But what that showed me is I enjoyed the social aspect of school. I would much rather be at school hanging out with people.
Right.
And I was also the guy, I could sit at almost any table at lunch in high school. Sure. Now, mind you, I was a Miller kid my whole life, so that helped because I knew almost everybody in my class. But it just, the cheerleaders all the way down to the D&D nerds, right? Like, I got along with everybody. And I think, again, I don't purposely strive for this, but I think curiosity is something that's ingrained in me more.
I'm the exact same way.
Right? Like, I never feel.
That's why I do this podcast, really.
I want to go learn about this. But when I learn about something, I really enjoy it. And that's why I could play around to Dungeons and Dragons with you all the way to a week ago snowboarder play 18 holes. Like, I just like to have enough knowledge to enjoy something. And I hate the saying, hate love, that, what is it? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
not your goal, right?
Right.
I don't his goal. But.
I don't have anything that I wake up in the morning. Well, golf. Love golfing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I try to tell myself, okay, you could improve your game a little bit if you just get up and maybe go get on the Peloton bike for 15 minutes in the morning.
Sure.
You've got the time. Nope, I'm going to scroll a little bit. I'm going to take my time getting ready.
Yeah. Everybody's got great intentions.
Yes. Right. So to me, those who have a direct passion for something, that's when that little piece in your brain will be like, no, get up now and go. Where, I don't know, I just don't have anything that I'm so directly passionate about. Now, I'll make sacrifices for stuff, don't get me wrong, but there doesn't seem to be anything that keeps me, except for my family.
Yeah.
I think default I have to say that, right?
Well, no, but I think, not to make this about men versus women, but I think that's the default for men, right? Like, we don't become passionate about a lot of things because we're so passionate about being a provider, so passionate about being available, so passionate about working hard enough that you have time to be with your family, things like that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
When you do podcasting, when you're an avid Bluey fan, when you play Dungeons and Dragons and you do golf, what's next? Have you thought about that? Like obviously we're not saying that you're leaving Lease Genie or quitting or anything like that, but you take on a lot of projects. Is there anything that, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Is there anything you like to do that you haven't done yet?
Yeah. I have the answer for that one.
Sure.
Because it's actually the official answer my wife gave me if I ever want to travel again. Because I did travel for about 5 years. A motivational speaker. I would.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the day, if I could be up on a stage, Tony Robbins style, being a motivational speaker. I mean,
I don't think your hands are big enough.
I use him as an example,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like, but doing that, Ty Bennett. I love Ty Bennett too,
Sure.
so I'll throw his name in there. But if I could do that, one, I have to be making enough money that my wife gets to travel whenever she wants with me, and we can afford a nanny for the kids. Those were her speculations.
Sure.
Those were the two rules. But that's something that I see that getting me up every day at whatever time I have to, because I would love that so much.
Would you like to write a book?
No.
Come off to me as a guy that would.
No, I will tell you stories all day long.
Sure.
And if you want to scribe them and make a book, great. But as
you
far
can do it
as
on video.
sitting down and no, and I just don't think I have the focus for it.
Fair. The last time we had you on, you were wearing a different shirt, and you gave me an answer to a question that sparked a lot of controversy online. People in the comment section
really
took major offense to your answer to one question. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to maybe change your answer, and it could still be the same.
Okay.
What is the greatest episode of Bluey that has been on TV?
Oh man, was it The Sign? I'm pretty sure it was The Sign.
Well, I don't think that had come out yet. You had said first. Well, here's where the controversy came.
Okay,
because you called the episode The Grannies, but it's actually The Bus, where we see the grannies for the first time. That is correct. That's where people that you called yourself a Bluey super fan that people took offense to.
Ripped apart on that one.
But do you still feel that that's the best episode?
Oh gosh, I hate to do this. No, and okay, Stickbird. That is the name of it. But if you recall, Bandit is like kind of lost in that episode.
Yep.
That is, and it's not been confirmed, but that is foreshadowing the new job he takes for The Sign. And so I'm a big Easter egg guy in movies and stuff. That's like Marvel does a great job just tying weird stuff together, right? When that happened, Stickbird, do I watch Stickbird more than the Granny episodes? Not just The Bus, but then also Granny Mobile and the others? No, absolutely not. I prefer the Grannies all day long. I actually have a shirt.
Shout out to Rita and Janet.
Yep. And I still wear my Rita and Janet 95 shirt.
Nice.
Because then they didn't win office, sadly. But the foreshadowing in Stickbird made that episode mean a lot more to me.
They do a great job of storytelling. I love the episode. I can't remember the name of the episode, but they're building the porch swing. But it's also telling the story of evolution also at the same time.
And they're in the cave, the cave talking. Yes.
Yep. It's great. It's fantastic.
It is.
So that's going to be the official answer. Then Stickbird is
Stickbird's the new one. If you haven't seen Stickbird yet, you got to watch Stickbird and then watch The Sign. You'll be like, oh my gosh, what else am I missing?
Excited about the movie. The movie's coming out next year.
Yes, I was deterred when I saw that it was 2026. So I'm also a huge Jurassic Park fan.
Which also just had a movie come out.
That's coming out. It's July 2nd specifically.
Oh, I thought it was June 2nd. Okay. You're probably right.
No, because June 30th is my birthday. It comes out 2 days after.
Okay.
So, but that is my focus.
You a big fan of Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, she's hosted Saturday Night Live.
You brought up Marvel, and then she's in that movie too. So.
Oh, I forget that. Yes, that's right. She is coming into that one. I guess. Yeah, I've actually been bombarded with Scarlett Johansson.
She's been everywhere lately.
We went back and watched a lot of her Saturday Night Lives.
We just watched. She's just not that into you, or he's just not that into you.
Yeah.
Last 2 nights ago. So.
I forgot she was in
This is what happens when you get married, folks. You just start watching movies together.
Yeah, we watched the new one with Zac Efron on. I couldn't tell you what it is. He plays a famous person in it, and the whole time, I don't know if he's had work or what, but he looks like David Hasselhoff. Like
probably didn't wear his shirt a lot in the movie.
No, he did. Well, he had it off a couple times, but my wife just kept saying, "Oh, see, he got fillers, and that's what happens when you get fillers." And he also did Baywatch.
Fair,
Zac Efron. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going down.
The Rock was in that. I've never
in the Baywatch. Yeah,
I've never seen that movie.
I've seen it a couple times, like pieces. Never sat down and watched the whole thing.
We covered a lot here.
We have,
and I think it's fair to say we got a little off track. Is there anything about Lease, Genie, that people should know that we didn't talk about?
Yes. So one thing that's really cool that we have in the works. So we offer vendor partnership now, and there's a lot of great opportunities. If you have a product that a piece of equipment that you want to lease out, we can help you with that. But the vendor agreement, we are creating a portal where when you have a client going through getting a lease for your said equipment,
sure,
you can actually follow their journey online.
Sorry, Grant on Facebook. Jimmy's watching movies with Scarlett Johansson. Brandon's watching movies with Zac Efron. We know who controls the remote in their respective houses. That was great.
You're not wrong, man.
How can people get a hold of Lease Genie if they're looking for?
Always website, of course, and we can throw the information in there. But you can always get a hold of me 402-321-0323. That's my cell, so you can text or call. And then also Brandon at leasegenie.com. I like simple emails. That is my email. But anybody you might have to refer, or even if you're just thinking, gosh, could you do this? I always love to take a stab at it. And I'll tell you yes or no.
Good call not throwing your last name into the email address, by the way. It doesn't look like it sounds.
Oh, no, Souba, I have too many vowels.
It doesn't sound like it's spelled.
No, it's no.
A lot of people thinking that we should do a movie review podcast. I think that would be a great idea. We'll just talk about who was in it, apparently not the plots or anything. If you're looking to get a lease for equipment or maybe a small business loan, check out leasegenie.com. Work with Brandon and his team. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Thanks for doing this today, man. I appreciate it.
Glad this worked out. Excited to be here.
This has been the Spotlight Omaha podcast. We're calling a little bit of an audible. We're going to start doing these pre-recorded, and we're going to have all of them in on Monday, and we'll go ahead and piece them out through the week so you can enjoy them. So please, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, follow the Facebook and YouTube channels so you can get updates on when the videos are posted. Thank you to everybody that liked and commented today.
Am I the last live one?
It's the end of an era, people are saying.
Hot damn. Happy to be here.
Keep an eye out for Jimmy and Brandon's movie podcast coming to a podcast channel near you soon. We'll see you on Monday. Thanks for joining us.